Hey everybody, welcome to the I Am Podcast YouTube channel.
Make sure to tap the bell, subscribe, and comment down below. Hey everybody!
Welcome to the I Am Podcast.
We are so excited to introduce to our guest Alyssa, who is a very... I don't even know how to explain Alyssa. She's like the
Prolific
donor. Yeah.
The Olympian of donors.
Yeah.
I think that might be the way to put it. The Olympian of donors.
Yeah. So Alyssa, would you please introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Alyssa. I have done, I think now I have done 12 donations in total.
Yeah.
And I have been with A New Fertility for all 12 of them.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about you outside of being a superhero.
Yeah.
So I live in Northern Ontario, just outside of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. I youngest of 4 children, have 3 older brothers. I work as a veterinary technician at the clinic out here, and I'm actually in the program for veterinary technician as well. The dream is to take that up to be a veterinarian one day.
Very cool. How long have you been doing that?
I've been in the veterinary field for, I want to say 4 or 5 years now. But at this clinic, working as a technician, I've been here for just about 2 years.
Nice. And you love it?
Yeah, love it.
Is it-
It's actually awesome. Working with animals is like the best thing.
So is it a small animal practice or a mixed practice?
We do mixed. So I do mostly small animal, but there are times I do get to go out on the field and do some large animal stuff, which is pretty cool.
Very cool.
What's your favorite thing to do or to help with in a day?
Ooh, I really like the really in-depth medical cases. Like not so much just your routine vaccines or flea and tick, that kind of stuff. I really like the in-depth, like my animal is sick, it's on its deathbed, how do we fix this? And it's super rewarding getting to be a part of that team that nurses this animal who is so close to death back to health, and then they leave in like 2 or 3 days and live on for another couple of years with their family.
That's so cool.
And what do you have for pets right now?
I have 4 dogs. They're probably gonna go nuts in the background. I have 1 boxer that I've had for 11 years. She's 11 years old, so I've had her since she was a puppy.
Old.
I have 3 chihuahuas. I swore when I started in this field, I would never in a million years get a chihuahua, but
Now you have 3.
they seem to be the ones that live the longest and the ones that people just want to give away. So I have 3 of them that came from homes where the owners didn't want them. And then I also have a cat that I just got last week, actually.
Nice.
From somebody at work, too, who also did not want to keep her.
See, that's why I could never work at a vet office, because I would become a rescue instead.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I would have to work 4 jobs to
Yeah.
afford to feed all of the animals that I have
Yeah.
just collected.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say no sometimes.
I was gonna say-
Your heart speaks louder.
My mom was really good at telling me no to all like the stray things I wanted to bring home, and now I'm an adult and there's no one to tell me no. And sometimes I really just need someone to be like, no, that is
Yeah.
a bad idea.
I do say that to you, but you don't listen.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's the perk of being an adult. You don't have to listen.
So, Alyssa, what initially inspired you to become an egg donor?
So my best friend actually did one prior to me doing one.
Right.
And she told me about the process, and when she did hers, I can't remember who she donated to, but they had sent her, they still had a connection with one another, so they sent her photos and video updates of the baby once it was born.
Yeah.
And that was really rewarding. I personally don't want to have my own children, so it almost seems like, I know my fertility rate is pretty high, and if I'm not going to use them, somebody else might as well.
Yeah.
So just the idea of, there's people out there who really, really want to have kids who just can't for whatever the case may be, and being able to provide them with some sort of type of love of some sort is what kept me coming back, realistically.
That is so sweet.
Yeah.
I just,
That's the cool thing to me is that you didn't just do this once or twice, like 12 times, Alyssa. That's wild.
12 times.
Like,
yeah. And now that
yes, just a couple.
now that you're more retired, are you missing it? Because I'm guessing you would say, kind of like the rest of us, that it gets addicting to help.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Super addicting to help. I do kind of miss it since retiring. Yeah, I do wish I could do more. I wish I could just continue to go until there was no eggs left, but at some point you gotta stop, right?
how do you think your perspective on egg donation changed? Like, did it change with each one, or what? Have you always kind of had the same perspective about it?
I did. Yeah, I would say my perspective kind of remained the same. I mean, after, oh gosh, prior to the first one, the first couple that I donated to was just, they were the most amazing couple I had ever met in my entire life. They were so sweet. Flew across the country to come, or sorry, actually across the world to come see me and surprise me at my work. I got off work one day and they just were there outside.
Oh my gosh.
To come and say hi and to come meet me in person. After that one, and really, really getting to know them one-on-one, that drastically changed I knew this wasn't just providing somebody with a child. This is like, you want a baby, this is your life, this is what you've been working for, and I can help you with that. And that created such a strong bond between us.
Right. Do you still talk to them?
I do, yeah.
Very cool.
I do.
Because you have had known donations throughout. Do you have a relationship with all of them?
Not every single one of them, no. The last couple, was it the last one? No, the second last one that I donated to, I do still have a really, really close relationship with them. Their baby is almost a year old now. And when baby was born, they flew over from Europe. They wanted me to meet the baby, so I went to Southern Ontario to meet them, to meet baby. We did. They actually wanted to do a photo session with myself and with the surrogate, so all of us came together and they had a makeup artist for us come in.
Oh my gosh, cool.
It was really, really, really cool. So yeah, I have a relationship with a couple of them, not all of them though.
Right.
And has that, seeing that baby, has that brought it full circle for you? Like, for me, that was something that really, I don't want to say it closed the chapter, because I don't think that's what it is at all, but like, finally, what I
Makes
did.
it real.
Like, it makes it more real, and what I, the thing I did however long it was ago that you donated before this baby came was, like, finally here. Like, you do the donation, but then, obviously, sometimes you don't get a baby instantly after that.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did that feel for you?
Yeah, that was probably one of the most rewarding ones. I mean, other couples have certainly sent me photos or kept me updated during the surrogacy process of, this worked, this failed, this did this, and this did that. But having this one actually come full terms and seeing that baby and holding that baby in my arms and be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're real. You're not a little doll on
Right.
a video camera. Like,
Yeah.
you're a live, breathing, crying baby,
Yeah.
and you are born into the most grateful and precious, perfect parents you could ever have.
Did that ever change your opinion, Alyssa, like having your own babies?
Yeah. That last one in particular, yes. Holding her and looking her, even now when I get photos of her, like, my ovaries quiver.
Yeah.
She is so stinking cute, and just, I look at her, I'm like, you are the most perfect specimen I've ever seen in my life. Like, you are like a little Gerber baby, and I want you. But I know if I were to have my own, it wouldn't be her,
Yeah.
That's so funny. That's true, though. When I look at my egg baby, I'm like, oh, you're so perfect. Like, oh. But he looks, like, they look similar. He looks similar to my son, but they look more almost like cousins than like siblings. Like, they don't really look, And
seeing the genetics of it, too, is really
Yeah.
cool, eh?
Yeah.
Like, seeing my genetics as a child and as a baby into that baby mixed with somebody who I've never actually had a relationship with.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
saying, whoa, okay, they have my eyes, they have your nose. Like,
Yeah.
the genetic aspect is super cool.
That is something that's really interesting and something I've even noticed, like, because I'm, same as Alyssa, the only girl in my family, like, and most of my egg babies are boys, so seeing some of them, and I'm like, oh, you look just like this picture of my brother, or like this moment in time, and I'm like, oh, like, I can completely see it.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a cool part of the process, especially for someone like yourself who has chosen that, you know, kids are probably not in the cards for you. A lot of ladies who donate have made that same choice and are also so selfless as to give something that they don't intend to use. And I think it is really cool that even though it's not your baby, like, in a weird way you live on, if that makes sense. Like, you know, you've left something with the world even though you haven't had your own kids, and I think that's really unique, actually.
Yeah, oh, it's amazing. Like, do you think, Alyssa, like, because you have both, like, people that you are not as close with and intended parents that you are close with, do you think that, I don't know how to say this, how do you feel about that? Like, do you wish that you had a really close relationship with all of them?
I do.
Yeah.
Now, I know some of them haven't had the opportunity to have a baby out of the donations. I mean, obviously, anything can come into play, whether that's because of the egg or because of surrogacy, whatever the case may be, right? So some of them, actually, most of them really haven't kept me updated, which I'm kind of so about it. I mean, I want to keep my distance because you don't want to be pushy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go and reach out and say, hey, what happened? Do you have a baby yet? I want to know everything. I've kept lines open for them to come to me. I do kind of wish that they would reach out a little bit more often, but it's obviously something I certainly am going to respect. But yeah, it would be cool to be updated. More and more photos is really, really nice to have.
Oh, I totally agree. I only have one egg baby, but seeing him is just like the highlight of every day. Like looking on their Instagram and stuff, I'm just like, oh my god, he's so cute.
Especially when you haven't, like, and quite a few of the families you've helped haven't gotten to necessarily a transfer or, you know, the start, like, really actually the start of.
Yeah, like they have embryos, but they haven't moved forward from there.
Yeah. And I think that can be really tough. We've talked about it quite a bit, you know, like, as intended parents, and you wait and wait and wait, and then you wait and wait more. Like, that sometimes you can kind of get in a rut where you're just so tired of waiting and you're just so exhausted. Like, sometimes kind of a part of you just, like, shuts off to the journey until there's something really, really concrete, solid to move forward with. And I mean, some intended parents, it takes the whole pregnancy. Like, sometimes it takes having a baby literally in your arms to be like, oh, this is actually
this really
real.
happened. Yeah.
Especially if you're, you know, with a surrogate and, you know, you don't live with your surrogate, you're not, you know, that's actually kind of a funny thought to ponder, because could you imagine being in the shoes of an intended parent and you, like, know this baby's coming and you know this baby's yours, but, like, you know, especially
your life is just normal.
Your life hasn't really changed. Like, you're still working, you're still doing those things, and you're, you know, there's this excitement sort of, but it's also like it's not. You know, when you're a woman and you're pregnant, you're like, oh, your belly's growing, and you're going to appointments, and you're going to ultrasounds and stuff.
Although,
like that.
While I was pregnant, I still, like, okay, yes, I'm growing a baby. Clearly, we're out to here. There's no mistaking it. But I still was like, I don't
almost
know,
disconnected.
So not even like, I guess disconnected, and like also like, I just had no idea what to expect. Like, I babysat and like I was surrounded by babies as a kid and all of that stuff, but taking your own home is like, you just
and
don't
especially
know.
Like as intended parents who haven't even haven't been thinking about this the same way when you're not actually pregnant or it's not your wife that's pregnant. Like, actually, that'd be quite the like. I wonder.
It'd be wild.
Yeah, like, it would be really wild. Like, I understand, like, feeling so excited and doing all those things, but also, like, wow, like, talk about just being thrown off the deep end.
Yeah,
like,
here's a baby.
Here's your baby, and have fun. Like,
what an emotional journey for them, right?
Yeah, wild. So listen, are your friends and family all like, they all know and they're all supportive? Was that ever an issue?
No, actually, that wasn't ever an issue, to be honest. My family my brothers have been very, very supportive. My partner as well. I mean, we've talked in the past about having kids, and then kind of that kind of dropped off, right? I mean,
Right.
if I have dreams of being a veterinarian one day, it's such a long educational journey, and
Right.
it was going to take so much time and effort on my part that we just kind of discussed it and said, if that's what my goals in life, I personally would not be able to divvy up my time between that and baby.
Right.
So my partner has been certainly exceptionally supportive of it. Whatever you want to do with your body, you do it. You want to do more, you can do more. If you don't want to do more, then we're done. I haven't had any.
And your
I haven't
parents
had
were good
any
about
issues.
it. Your parents were happy that you were donating, and
Yeah.
very cool.
That was really cool.
So you has that ever happened to you where you've been in a conversation with someone and they're like, "Oh, you donated your eggs? Why would you do that?"
Yeah, actually, when I was living in Southern Ontario, my roommate at one point, I think it was one of my first donations, she kind of like questioned it, kind of raised an eyebrow of like,
Right.
well, aren't you gonna feel weird having a kid out in the world
Yeah.
and like not have those maternal instincts? Well, no, not
Yeah.
really, because it's like realistically, I'm doing my donation and off it goes. Like, I'm not there for the pregnancy.
Yeah.
I'm not there for the journey of childhood into adulthood, Like, I'm not there for any of that. So,
Yeah. You're not
no.
wiping snotty noses. You're not. Yeah.
You're not up in the night
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like even like holding my egg baby and like seeing photos of him, like I call him my egg baby, but like I don't ever feel like he's mine. You know?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like I have no like
Attachment?
Yeah, like yes, I
Yeah.
think he's perfect and lovely and I like
Mhm.
love him, but I don't view him as mine. Like
Yeah.
I think that's something that's super misconstrued, that just because genetically that baby might be yours, it doesn't make it yours. Like,
Well, I think even when you think bigger thoughts, when it comes to adoptions and stuff like that, and even just the way most people, I mean, I don't want to throw like too broad of a blanket, but the way a lot of people live their life is like, families who shows up and who's there for you and who supports you no matter what, like, and that might not necessarily be by blood, and so in some ways a little bit, how is this any different, right? Like, I mean, we've all got our family trees are all complex and have their own, idiosyncrasies, and there's most people have family they don't talk to, and like people in their life who are like family who don't share the same blood as them, and so I think in a lot of ways this kind of falls into that, like
you're literally, the gift is so incredible because you're giving it to someone who all they want is a baby. Like, it's as simple as that.
That's like their sole goal and dream in life is just to have a baby to love. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's so cool because that we've talked about this so much, and I think it's just so relevant. That baby makes people aunts and uncles. That baby makes a cousin for somebody. That baby, hopefully one day turns into, maybe a parent themselves or a grandparent, or like the ripple effect is just so big by an act of kindness that is just so incredible.
Looking back, Alyssa, now, is there anything that you would have done differently for any of your donations, or like the beginning donations?
No, actually, I don't. I think I made the right choice by certainly by making them all known donations instead of doing an anonymous donation. I feel like if I did anonymous, I feel like I more so would have been like kind of uneasy about who the babies go to and what kind of family they're born into and who those parents are and what's going to happen with their life. So I'm very grateful that I chose to have everything out in the open and that open connection and interaction.
I think it's a hard thing because we talk about this a lot, that the decision 22-year-old you might, the 40-year-old version of you might feel very different, and you maybe wish you had the ability to know, because that is the thing about an anonymous donation, and if that's what you're looking for and what you're wanting, we help people with that for sure, but
I couldn't do it.
I know I couldn't do it for that same uneasy feeling, and
I'm too nosy.
Well, yeah, that's just it. I want there's so much peace of mind and comfort in the knowing, because you're not you're not worried about your kid dating them, or
Yeah.
you know, like
Mhm.
some of the other things are, you know, was that little kid that just went by in the mall, you know,
Yeah.
like
It's also hard though because like my very first intended parents, they never ended up having a baby with my embryos or our embryos. And like it is cool. I know that they have babies now, but it is kind of like not heartbreaking, but sad that those embryos never worked out, and it does make me like sad. And
oh, for sure.
I think, you know, if that had been anonymous, maybe I would just be like blissfully unaware and think, oh, they had a baby. Like,
I think that's the
I understand that concept of it too.
I agree, because like I mean, my first donation also didn't result in a baby, but I also think that's the like the price of love to a sense, because you know, I wouldn't have known about that sadness, but I also wouldn't have known about the great happiness that are all of the egg babies that are out there.
Yeah.
Like I think that's just the price of love.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Well, and like I got to meet these people from Norway that I never would have met otherwise, and had a relationship with at all.
Yeah.
So that is kind of the cool thing too, and they probably wouldn't have ever got to the step where they have babies without doing this first.
Like it's just a part of the journey as much as it is hard. So I have a question, Miss Seasoned Olympian Pro. What are your, like, when you were going in for a retrieval or when you were getting ready to start a cycle, what were your tips and tricks and things that you were keeping in mind?
Well, I learned kind of late on in the amount of donations that I did to really advocate for your own health, because even though, yes, you are going to a fertility center and you have a team of very expert nurses and doctors and everything else behind you, something as small as you know, I get there to the nurses station and they sit me down, they get you to change, and they give you a Xanax. Something even just like that to calm your nerves, because there were a couple of times, will be totally truthful about this, there are a couple of times in the middle of my donation, I'm on my back, legs up. They are like probe inside me, taking the eggs out. I woke up in the middle of the procedure, and I remember bringing my head up, looking down between my knees, and saying, "Oh, hey, doc, fancy meeting you here." There's a couple of times, and then seconds later, I remember him saying, "You need to turn her gas up. You need to give her more."
Yeah.
So I think because of the anxiousness of going into that donation, into that retrieval, I was already so heightened going in, right? That whatever medications, whatever sedations that they give you, they need a little bit extra just to kind of keep you under. There's actually been a couple of times where I've woken up in the middle of a procedure. So I got really used to, after that, saying like, hey, you're giving me a Xanax now. Can I have another one at this time?
Right.
Or, you know, I mainly throughout the 12 donations, I had the same doctor, but 2 different occasions I had another male doctor and one was a female doctor. And in particular, with that female doctor, whatever her procedure and whatever her protocols were, I woke up from that retrieval in the most pain I had ever been in. I was so sick afterwards, and I was like, this is, something went wrong, something happened, I don't know what, because they obviously didn't say anything, but, you know, I woke up and I was like, this is not right. So for my future retrievals, I had requested to have the doctor that I had most of the time, because I knew that whatever he was doing, whatever drugs he was giving me, whatever analgesics, pain medications, everything else, whatever he's pumping into me, it was enough to help me and to hold me over. So I think for girls who are donating too, they really need to understand that you are allowed to advocate for your health. They are allowed to speak up and say, hey, you know what, I want that, or I prefer that doctor over this doctor, or can you give me extra medications, this is how I'm feeling. Like, you just have to be super transparent with them, right?
I think that is super important. It's something I tell donors a lot. Like, you're allowed to ask for more. Like, there are no cookies given out, there are no trophies given out. Being the toughest donor doesn't matter. Like, you should be comfortable.
Yeah, we want you to feel we want you to feel good, and we also want you to, you know, also feel good walking out, you know, like making sure that you're not over medicated, making sure that you're not under medicated, like making sure you're comfortable and you feel good, because done right and listening to your body, this is overall it's not.
Oh, it should be easy.
Yeah, overall, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a fairly straightforward process, and a retrieval doesn't take that long, and, with the medications given, you should be comfortable, and you should feel okay, and, you might feel a little nauseous the rest of that day or whatever, but, most ladies do this process really, really well. I still think that's one of the most, like, I don't know, I want to say common myths, but kind of like that ladies think that it's going to be such a long recovery after, and you're going to be on the couch forever, and it's like, lots of ladies are just right back into normal life.
Yeah.
Yeah, the recovery time for those retrievals, I will say that it's relatively easy peasy. I mean, when you come out, you're still pretty sedated, so for that day, you're kind of, down in the dumps. I just want to go to bed. I want to eat a bunch of food and go to sleep. And then after that, to be honest, for me personally, it just felt like I had done a hardcore ab workout for like the next 5 days.
Yeah.
That was about it.
You're sore and
Yeah, you're sore, and you can feel it a bit when you move, depending on. I also think because you were such a prolific donor and you just produced so much volume. I think I think you would probably actually feel differently if you had, say, only done 30 eggs. Like you probably wouldn't have you wouldn't have felt it so hard because there was just that many holes. Like we had to poke that many holes to get everything out.
Yeah, exactly.
There are not many donors who donate as many as you do, Alyssa. Like you are incredible.
It's very what you have done is very prolific, and there could be, I mean, not to take away from anyone else and anyone else's gift at all, but I mean your
fertility is high. You're a fertile myrtle.
Yeah.
Literal fertile myrtle, like a turtle in the sand,
Yeah.
Truly, like that is, I just think it's so incredible that you are so fertile and you've been able to share that with so many, because I mean
12 different families.
We talk about fertility rates, and we see the data changing, and instead of 1 in 6 having fertility issues, it's 1 in 4, so it's 25% of the population. And you helped 12 of those families that fall into that 25% of the population, which is just wild.
It's incredible, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Alyssa, what's something that most people don't know about you?
Oh my gosh. Something that most people don't know about me. Okay, actually, this is something that probably, there's like a very, very slim amount of people that know this about me, but I took, for a very short period of time, but I took Irish step dancing lessons for a little while.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, I really wasn't sure where that was going, but I love it. Did you like it?
I loved it. So I love my mom's background is in a Celtic background. We're Scottish and Irish on my mom's side of the family. So I grew up with my grandmother watching Lord of the Dance, Riverdance, Michael Flatley, that kind of stuff all the time. So I fell in love with it. So when I was like 21, 22, I was living in London, Ontario, and I took Irish step dancing lessons from, my teacher was the lead dancer for Lord of the Dance for like 7 years. I took dance lessons with her.
That is so cool.
And why is this a hidden secret?
Yeah.
Out of curiosity.
I don't know. I don't know why I kept that a secret. Most people just don't know.
Right.
I think there's like 4 people in my life, which is probably 3 of those are my brother. I think 4 people in my life know about that.
Well, that's fun. But you know what? Of all the things that most people don't know about you, I think that's a great one.
Yeah.
That is, that's a great way to answer the question. So we ask everyone this question because the answers always fascinate us. If you could have supper with anyone living or passed on, who would it be and why?
Ooh, actually, this is like, okay, yeah. I would say Dr. Daphne Sheldrick. I don't know if you guys know who she is, but if you ever look into the Sheldrick Trust Fund, it's in Kenya, and they do a lot of work with elephant sanctuaries.
Oh,
yeah, I think I recognize the
name.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about? So she
right?
Dr. Daphne founded the Sheldrick Trust Fund, and my dream in life is to, can't figure out whether it be Africa or Thailand, but be a veterinarian, have my own elephant sanctuary. Elephants are like my favorite animal in the whole world, and I'm so fascinated by them. But she spearheaded a lot of initiatives for them and has this huge sanctuary. And the
so
work
cool.
they do over in Kenya is just, it's fabulous.
Very
But
So,
that
like-
is one person, I think, at the top of my list.
I love that. So, out of curiosity, like, do you go to the zoo and see elephants lots? Like how do you get your fix?
No, I don't go to the zoos, but actually my partner and I just went, where did we go? It was last September. We went to Thailand, to Wildlife Friends Foundation, Thailand. It is an animal conservation. They have elephants and tigers and gibbons and everything like that. They help a lot of animals rescued that have come from, lifelong journeys of abuse and neglect in the tourism industry and everything like that. That's how I've recently gotten my fixes, by going there. And we stayed on the conservation for 2 weeks, and you actually
wow.
work with the elephants. So you like eat, breathe elephants all day long.
So that must have been
Scoop their
like
poop, feed them.
Wow.
you
great.
probably like. How are you planning to go back? Like, is this was it something you would do again?
Yeah, for sure. We had actually spoken about that. I don't know if we go to that one in particular. There's another one in northern Thailand called Elephant Nature Park. I don't know if you should follow them on Instagram, because the stuff that they do as well is just phenomenal. But that is the next one that we kind of had on our minds. I would really love to do it, an African safari of some sort too.
Oh, I think that would be so.
That would
cool.
be really cool.
Mhm.
Is your partner just as in on the elephants and the African wildlife as you?
Yeah, Actually, he said, and you know what? Going to Thailand and working on that conservation, probably the most I've ever worked in my entire life. The hardest work, it's the temperature is so drastically different than Canada.
Yeah.
But he is very, very supportive. And after going to that Thailand trip, he was like, I didn't want to leave. He was like, that was the most rewarding thing that we could have ever done. Like, now going on a vacation, all inclusive, drinking and eating is not even in our mindset. He was like, why did I ever do that in my life when this is something that I could have done, because I feel so much more rewarded.
So out of curiosity, because like that would be so interesting. Was it super expensive for you guys to go do that for 2 weeks, or was it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Staying there on the conservation, they lodge you, they provide food, and accommodations, everything there. But getting from Canada to Thailand, and then staying there for 2 weeks, I think for one of us was like $4,000 Canadian.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's like, it's like a savings. And we thought about doing a shorter duration, but we were like, well, by the time we fly there, it takes like 2 days to fly there, and then the time changes and this and that. Like, a week is not going to be long enough. So we emptied our bank accounts, charged all the credit cards, and we're like, let's just do this.
Yeah.
For us to go again would be like, we're still recovering from that vacation. When I say vacation, it wasn't really vacation. That work trip, we're still recovering from. So I would like to do it, but we now have to just be a little bit more money conscious to get there.
What does your partner do?
So he does HVAC, so heating and cooling.
Very cool. How'd you meet?
Yeah. So he is from my hometown. We didn't know each other really. We had heard of each other prior to dating. I lived in Toronto, worked at a restaurant there. The owner of that restaurant is my oldest brother's best friend. Mm-hmm. So that's how I began working there. And then one day Dean showed up and he started working there. We kind of worked together. I was not a huge fan of him. And then that's when COVID hit. So he moved back home. I stayed in Toronto. And then one day I had randomly gotten a message from him saying, hey, I want to get out of Northern Ontario and I want to move back down Toronto. Do you know of anybody who has a room for rent? I said, well, actually, my roommate just moved back to Sault Ste. Marie because it's COVID. She didn't want to stay here. So I have a room. at this apartment.
Right.
So he moved. And the funny thing is, when he moved, he actually had a girlfriend at the time
Ooh.
who was awful. I hated her so much. She never left my apartment. So it was like he moved in, she moved with her, and then they ended up splitting up. And I tried to fight it for as long as I could, but here we are now.
That's hilarious.
4 years later.
Oh, that's
So after Awful Lady moved out,
Mhm.
was he like, so Alyssa, you want a date or?
Yeah,
Was
I
it,
mean,
like,
I would get home from work and he would like, I would get home from work and he'd like cook me dinner and, you know, he was, it was just, he would like come on to me and I would push him away. And then I remember one day I was sitting on the balcony and I think he was leaving and he came out and he just like kissed me. And I was, okay, I'll see you later. I was on the phone with my best friend. I was like, oh, what just happened? What just happened? I
Have
don't
we
know
been
what
dating
to
this whole
process.
time?
What is happening? I'm coming home. Yeah, and then after that, our lease agreement was up for that apartment that we were in. Somebody else, I was supposed to move in with another girlfriend. 4 days before our move out day, she bailed.
Oh, no.
So I had nowhere to go, and I went, oh crap, in 4 days I have no home. And he was like, well, I'm moving here, and would you look at that? There's a spare room there. If you want to move, feel free.
Did you live
So
in
I
that
did.
spare room, or did you just like move into his room?
No, I had my own room. We were separate for so long, and then eventually we just amalgamated and said, all right, well, I guess this is happening.
That's so cute.
There's something to be said for a man who just
Yeah.
won't take no for an
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
Like in the polite, non-creepy
Yeah.
way.
No, totally though. I mean, it worked out. Good for him. And he was
Yeah.
persistent about it, right? And we're still there. We're still here.
Yeah, it's different when he's cute and nice
Yeah.
rather than when he's like smelly and a little homely and
Yeah.
won't leave you alone, you know? Yeah. Hey, it worked out. It's okay.
It worked out.
I love it.
Well, Alyssa, we don't want to keep you all day. It was so nice to visit with
Yeah,
you and
it was
actually
nice.
like get to see you.
Yeah, I love that. I love when we can do this.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like Maria got to help you through so many and I got to help you through 3, I think, or 4. 3.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
So, and I have, like, we've talked on the phone, but I haven't really, like, met you like this, so this was really nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally, after 4 years.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
After a long time.
Yeah. So, enjoy the rest of your
Yeah,
day.
enjoy
and
the rest of your day.
Okay.
We'll catch up with you again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.